Good morning, Year 6. It is Monday, the 1st of March 2021, and we are going to get ready with our reading session for this week. Now, this week is very, very important because on Thursday, it is World Book Day. And we have decided here at the Palmer Academy that we are going to celebrate for the whole week by looking into a new type of text that we've only looked at a couple of times, and that is called fables. So we are going to look at fables all the way through this week in our reading sessions, right the way across the school. So our learning objective is to explore a fable and define vocabulary. Now, we often or always define vocabulary in a Monday's reading session. So for that part of the learning objective, that is a skill part because we are doing it, we are applying it, we already know how to do it, we're just putting it into practice. However, because we do not know much about fables, that is going to be a knowledge part of the lesson. Okay, so we're going to work out what it is and share it with each other. Okay, so our learning objective today to explore a fable and define vocabulary is both knowledge and skills based. So first of all, what is a fable? I wonder if any of you know the answer to this question. By the end of the session you will, but for now, if you do, maybe share it with somebody at home, or if you're in school, somebody next to you, and see what you think a fable is. Okay, so can you remember us using a fable before? So a few months back, we did a writing assessment all the way across the school again, and we used a fable, and it was called The Hare and the Tortoise. Can you think about what it included that was different to other stories? That's right, it had something called a moral, didn't it? A moral, a lesson. So it taught the reader a lesson. What was the lesson in The Hare and the Tortoise? Perfect. Slow and steady wins the race. Perfect. Okay, so we are going to explore a different fable in today's lesson, and then we are going to be able to compare it to The Hare and the Tortoise, and in doing so we will find the similarities between them, and they are the key features of a fable. So before we continue, you've heard me talk about fables, but generally you might hear them called Aesop's fables. Now this is because Aesop was a Greek fabulist, okay? So he was born in circa 620 BCE and died in 564 BCE. So he was around 56 years old. A fabulist or fabulist is one who writes or tells fables. So this man from Greek history wrote and told fables. So that is why they're called Aesop's fables. Now, it is very unlikely that he wrote all of the fables, and there would have been maybe people before him that he has repeated them from, and people after him very may well have written some or altered them. So the ones that we know today would be slightly different from the ones that he told, and some may have been added, but they normally get attributed to him because he is famous for it. Okay, so we're going to look at a fable together, and then we're going to compare it to the tortoise and the hare. Okay, just like I said earlier, that will help us find the key features. So this is a fable called The Miller, His Son, and the Donkey. Okay, so this is just an audio. It's going to be somebody else reading it to you. But if you would like to, you can go into Teams in the file section, and you can open up the document that has the transcript of this video so you can follow along. Okay, but for now, I'm just going to reshare my screen so that we can listen to the fable. Okay, here we go.
The Miller, His Son, and the Donkey. Fetch our old donkey, the miller said to his son one day. We're taking him to market. We need money, and we've nothing else to sell. The son ran to the stable where the donkey was kept. He threw a halter over its neck, and the donkey wasn't happy. Grumpy old thing, said the son as he led the donkey out of the stable. I'm not sorry we're selling you. Oh, I'm not sorry either, brayed the donkey. When was the last time you gave me a carrot? We won't ride him, said the miller. It'll be easier to sell him if he's not tired. They led the donkey down the street towards the town. Hey, you! A man shouted suddenly. Why don't you ride the donkey? That's what it's for, another man hollered. The crowd began to laugh. The miller hated to be laughed at. Get up, son, he said. The son climbed up onto the donkey's back. At least it's the smaller one, the donkey grumbled, as he felt the son's weight on his back. Something to be grateful for, I suppose. But they hadn't travelled far before they passed 3 merchants, whispering and shaking their heads. What is the world coming to? The miller heard one of them say. Get down, young man. Let your master ride the donkey. The miller thought he'd better do as they said. Hop down, lad, and help me up, he said to his son. So the son climbed down and helped his father clamber up. Hey-oh, grumbled the donkey as the miller landed on his back. What a lump! Worse than a sack of potatoes. His back was hard and bony. The miller wasn't sorry when they reached the gates of the town. A group of girls were standing there, bags and baskets in their hands. The miller pulled on the donkey's halter. Whoa, he said. Let the ladies through first. Caw, look at that poor boy, one of the girls said, seeing the son lead the donkey, his father on top. His master should let him ride too. Lazy thing. The miller was a bit cross, but he liked to please. Get up behind me, son, he said. What? Both of you at once? The donkey screeched. I'm an old donkey! Ee-oh! Look at that poor creature, a woman said as the donkey crawled slowly along the road, head drooping. 2 of them on his back, and one of them so big, said her friend. They should be carrying it. Yes, they're right, thought the miller, and climbed down. Get down, son. We'll carry him between us. They tied the donkey's legs to a pole, the donkey slung between them. Now they know what it's like to be a donkey, carrying great loads all day, he thought as the miller and his son stumbled down the street. The townspeople had never seen such a sight before. They ran out of their houses to watch. Don't they look silly? They laughed. The donkey hated to be laughed at. He pushed and he pulled, trying to free himself. Slowly, the ropes that bound him began to loosen. One more heave, he gasped as they stumbled up to the bridge. And with a final tug and a kick, he was free. Over the bridge he tumbled. Down, down, down he fell, splash, into the river below. He thrashed and he brayed. But there was nothing he could do. Ee-oh! Ee-oh! He cried. Ee-oh! The miller watched helplessly as his donkey was swept away. Silly me, he said, as he and his son trudged homewards. By trying to please everyone, I've lost my donkey, and now I've nothing left to sell.
Right, so let's get back to our lesson. Okay, so what similarities are there between this fable and the hare and the tortoise? What things are the same? Fantastic. They both have animals as characters. Definitely. What's strange about these animals as characters? What do they do? Perfect. They talk, don't they? Okay, so the animals have human traits. They can talk, they have feelings, they have personalities. Okay, what else did they both have that was the same? Super, a moral. Okay, so what was the moral in this story? So in The Hare and the Tortoise, it was slow, steady wins the race. What about this one? Okay, right at the end, it said, by trying to please everyone, I lost my donkey and had nothing to sell. Is that the actual moral? Is that the lesson? Or do we need to deconstruct it a little bit? Okay, is the lesson anything to do with a donkey or selling anything? No, it's just to do with the fact that the man was trying to please everybody. So it's never try to please everyone. Or you cannot please everyone because everybody's going to have a different point of view. Okay, so maybe we'll do that instead. You cannot please everyone. So you might try and please some people, but then there'll be somebody else that comes along that would like it done a different way. So you can never please everybody. Okay, what else is there? Where was the setting? Was it in the front room? Was it in a church? Was it in a theme park? No, they were both outside. So we have outside settings. Okay, now not in every single fable, because obviously in this fable we only had one animal. In The Hare and the Tortoise, who were the reader rooting for? The tortoise. Fantastic. So we often have a hero and a villain. Okay, so in this case, our donkey was kind of our hero, even though he had that bad ending where he got swept off down the river, and we had the miller and his son as the villains. Okay, so let's continue and see what other things I had written down. So what is a fable? It is a story that teaches a lesson, often in which animals speak and act like humans. So to be considered a fable, it must have a moral at the end, it must have animals with human traits, and it must be quite short. We got quite a few of these down here. What do we usually find in a fable? Okay, so its setting is outside. The animals act like people. There's a character with a weakness. For example, in The Hare and the tortoise is very slow. That's his weakness. There is a moral at the end. We have the hero and the villain. And there's only really 2 to 3 characters. Okay, so on to the vocabulary part of our lesson. Just as always, I have selected 8 words for you to find back in the text. Write down a context clue of what you think it means, and then find a definition using a dictionary or an online dictionary. Okay, and then there is a challenge which I expect everybody to have a go at. Use the word thrashed in a multi-clause sentence of your own. So not just a single clause sentence, I want a multi-clause sentence, which means you're going to have to use a conjunction in there as well. What other features might you get in there? I wonder if you could include some superlatives like Miss J taught you about last week. Okay, and for those of you that really want to challenge yourself, you might want to begin your sentence with the subordinate clause. So therefore you would start with the subordinate conjunction. Okay, so let's have a look at this first word, halter. So first we're going to have to find it in the text. So you're going to open it up from Teams files, but I have got a snippy here for you. Okay, so I have highlighted the word halter. So remember now we need to read around it. Let's read the sentence first. He threw a halter over its neck. Okay, so he threw it, which means it was an object, it was something, so its word class is a noun. Okay, I know that it is a noun. Ooh. Remember, we need to read above and below to get a little bit more information. So let's read this whole little paragraph. It's only 3 sentences. The son ran to the stable where the donkey was kept. He threw a halter over its neck and the donkey wasn't happy. So we know the donkey doesn't like this thing and this thing is round its neck. So we can assume that it's like a strap, maybe, a strap that constricts him. So it stops him from doing something. That's what we get from the context. Okay, so I'm going to put that in my context clue box. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a dictionary definition. Now I've gone ahead and done that. So I've got it here. So a strap or rope placed around the head of a horse or other animal, and the donkey is very much like a horse, and it's used for leading, so walking it somewhere, or tethering it, tying it up to a post or something. And I don't know if maybe some of the girls know or have heard of halter neck tops. So they are the tops that have a strap round your neck and then it leaves your shoulders and a bit of your back bare. Okay, so that's where that comes from. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and put in that definition and carry on with the other 7 words. If you think you'll find that a little bit tricky, as always, there is the support activity where I have found the definitions for you, and you just need to open up Teams and use the insert tab at the top of the page and select the line and join up the words to the correct definitions, and then have a go at the challenge also. Okay, so I'm going to let you pause the screen there, and then I'm going to show you the answers if you've not got onto Teams. There we go, you can mark your answers, and I will look forward to reading what your sentences as I mark them on Teams. You'll have Mr. Simmons tomorrow and Wednesday going back over and revising some retrieval skills for you to use with this fable. Thursday's lesson, we will do a mixed comprehension task on this fable, and Friday I will be sharing a new fable with you to do a mixed comprehension practice on as well. So I hope you have a lovely week, and we will look forward to seeing you in school the week after. Thank you very much, Year 6. Bye for now.